I simulated the last 30 years on Football Manager using a retro database. Yes, using the mad scientist's new database, which will be available this week on Steam and direct download on his Twitter page. I'll put the links for it when it arrives. I have been given the beta access so I can showcase this to you to get you hyped and wanting to play it so we can have a little bit of fun with it. Now, this is the first season of the Premier League in 1992-93 season. It was the year I was born. Manchester United won it in real life, and Leeds are the current holders of the First Division. A Leeds side that has Eric Cantona nonetheless. Diego Maradona is at Sevilla, age 32, and still amazing. The Serie A is the most reputable league, and AC Milan have players like Baresi, Ruud Gullit, Marco van Basten, and in my opinion, the greatest defender of all time, Paolo Maldini. A young Ronaldo is just 15 years of age and can be found in the Brazilian leagues, as well as a 14-year-old Thierry Henry at Monaco and a 17-year-old Hernan Crespo at River Plate. Now, I don't want to spoil too many things, so you can have a look yourself. Obviously, the database will be out this week as of the video drops. But we're going to take a brief look at the database itself and simulate 30 years to see how close and true the database fits to real life. So yes, I'm playing the beta version, so you can see here the leagues that I have access to: Serie A, Serie B, Premier League, the First Division, the Bundesliga, Spanish Premier League 1, and the Scottish Premiership there. So a lot of these leagues obviously have some teams which you wouldn't expect to see if you're only used to modern day football. The likes of Coventry City, of course, Oldham Athletic, all used to be, and obviously key members of the very first Premier League season back in 92-93. And it really is quite outstanding going through the different teams. Like we can see Manchester United here with only one Champions League, only 7 league titles at the time. Sir Alex Ferguson, of course, has not won a Premier League yet at this point. And there's a young, hot prospect named David Beckham waiting in the wings, probably to make his debut at the club that will change history for English football, along with the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester City later on down in the years, and make the Premier League the biggest league in the world. But I'm not here to kiss the ass of the Premier League or Manchester United. Let's take a look at this database because I think it's absolutely phenomenal. We got Roberto Baggio here as the most expensive player. This was when he was at his prime at Juve. What a phenomenal looking talent he is there. The Italian league just has so many amazing players. No surprise, Diego Maradona is there, even at the age of 31. Marco van Basten, Lothar Matthäus there for Bayern Munich, absolutely incredible, 31 years of age. So you get a lot of these players at the end of their career. Michael Laudrup there, 28 years of age at Barcelona. Remember, this is the year 1992. Denmark win the Euros at this point, and one of the Laudrups doesn't make it. Remember that story. Absolutely incredible. Fair play to the Danes. Frank Rijkaard, Jurgen Klinsmann, Peter Schmeichel there at Manchester United. What a goalkeeper he was. John Barnes at Liverpool, 28 years of age. Of course, Liverpool, they've just gone on through the 80s. They had an amazing time in the 80s. Ronald Koeman, turns out he was an incredible player, not just a terrible manager for Barcelona. If you go down the list, so even the likes of Gary Lineker there, he's playing abroad right now. He's playing, I think that's the Japanese team. Yeah, he went to Japan, didn't he? Age 31. He wasn't afraid to go abroad. What a player too, Gary Lineker. But then you look down the list, there's so many different players that you can look at, enjoy, and possibly make a brand new save out of. That's the beauty of these databases made by the mad scientist. Honestly, I've been using them for the last few years now. I've done a couple of saves on them myself, and I'll definitely actually be bringing a save to you on this channel once the Villarreal save is done using this database, because I really cannot wait to dive into this and see what we can create. But like I mentioned, I've simulated 30 years, so what would be the current time up to 2022 or last season that has just finished? Obviously, it's going to look like it's 2051 because the date will still be 2021 when you start the database, but it will just be like it'll be 1991, then it'll be 2021, 22 when you do a save game file. That's absolutely fine. But what we're going to do, we're going to go 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. There's no point going to 20 years because certain different things that we can see at that point we'll come back to. But before we go any further, today's video is sponsored by SPITCH. Yeah, SPITCH is brand new to the market. It's a fantasy football app that you can win some fantastic prizes with, or even some prize money. You have to be 18 or over, take a picture of your identification. You have to be from the UK or Ireland. But remember, once you book a pitch with SPITCH in the Premier League, you do have a chance to win some fantastic prizes the next couple of weeks, including some Apple Watches, including some Premier League jerseys, and if you're in the top 20 of those previous 3 weeks, you can even win a package holiday. It is free to play and free to download using the link at the top of the description. The link underneath it, of course, is a community league, my community league, with Dad in it and about 40 or 50 of you that are also playing SPITCH on a weekly basis. It is week by week. If you miss a week, don't worry about it too much. You can still enter and win some fantastic prizes or some money. All the statistical analysis is on the app. You don't have to leave the app to come back to find out who the best team is and have some fun with SPITCH. Thank you very much for sponsoring today's video. Okay, we're 5 years into the future. Let's take a look, because Arsenal are the current Premier League champions. It has been Arsenal and Manchester United who have been playing around with the Premier League at the beginning, which obviously it's very similar to what actually happened. I think Blackburn won it 5 years in, but Arsenal are current champions, with somebody who Blackburn actually won the Premier League with, Alan Shearer, as their talisman. He is incredible on this. So 5 years, he's 21 at the start. What a player Alan Shearer is. He is signed for Arsenal. Very controversial, but if you take a look at some of Manchester United players, they have also done very well. Mark Hughes there with 31 goals, 33 now, the Welshman. RIP Gary Speed, he's there at Leeds, 27 years of age, in with the highest average rating. Figo is currently at Manchester United. They've basically bought Ronaldo from the 90s. Figo, he has joined there from Sporting to Manchester United. Redondo, do you remember Redondo? What a player. They have seriously spent some incredible money, because £111 million Manchester United. But look at the rest of the Premier League. Leeds down there in 5th. Manchester City actually making the Champions League, which is quite outstanding. We'll take a look at that in a sec. Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich Town and Oldham getting relegated. It's quite an interesting time here. But the rest of the leagues then, so AC Milan in the Serie A, they have dominated all 5 years. There's no surprise there, although Henrik Larsson there is at Inter Milan. Ryan Giggs is at AC Milan. Oh, wow. That is a very different outcome of what happened in real life. Of course, Ryan Giggs stayed there for the majority of his career. Zidane ended up at Juve, where he actually ends up in real life, of course. He went to Bordeaux, then he went to Juve. That's quite weird, isn't it, how that's happened? Some of the things that you're going to see today actually happen in real life, and you think that is very freaky. But this is obviously the league format that you can see. AC Milan are completely dominating with Ryan Giggs now, and Two-Guy. What? Two-Guy is there. Insane. He could hit a long shot, couldn't he? That was absolutely outstanding how good he was. Spanish Premier Division. Real Madrid have won it 2 years in a row. But Barcelona won it 2 years before that. Real Madrid won it the first year. So there's some interesting stuff, obviously, that we can see. Sporting Gijon there. Atletico Madrid down in 5th place. But there's nothing too surprising here. A lot of the Spanish league at this point were still rebuilding, weren't they? At this point, the Spanish division wasn't as reputable as what it was near the late 90s, when they started to bring the Galacticos era into the league. Obviously, Johan Cruyff and that 96 team, I think it was. Bobby Robson then took over as well. Ronaldo, Romario, Rivaldo, all of those types of players signing for Barcelona. We've got the French league then. Obviously, no PSG. At this point, it's no PSG. It's just been dominated by Marseille. Marseille had an incredible team at the start of the 90s. Hakan Şükür there, one of their talisman. That is absolutely insane. Paulo Sergio as well. Very good Brazilian. And the Bundesliga's won by 4 different teams, in fact. Stuttgart, Bayern Munich, Werder Bremen and Dortmund. So that's good that Dortmund are back up there. They only actually lost 1 game in that first season. So yeah, Dortmund actually win obviously the Champions League in this season, I think it is, because it'll be 5 years from 1992, so 1997 they win the Champions League. So it is quite funny how they do have a very good team at this stage. Speaking of the Champions League, AC Milan have won it 3 out of 5 seasons. Manchester United have won it once. Sampdoria have actually won it too. AC Milan are the current holders, defeating Manchester United in the final. final. 10 years on then, here we are. Juve are winning the Serie A, so some things have changed. Arsenal are still winning the Premier League. Has it been dominated? No. In fact, Manchester United actually won it 3 years in a row, then Arsenal. So the two teams which were very good at the late 90s, obviously 10 years now would make us about 2002. Hernan Crespo is at Norwich. What? Andrei Shevchenko, 31 goals there for Arsenal. If you think this is 10 years, Andrei Shevchenko would have been 15. And he is insane in this. Jesus, he's 25 years old now. Never went to AC Milan. From Dinamo Kiev, £6 million Arsenal picked him up. And he has bagged so many goals already for them. An incredible player, Vincenzo Montella. Manchester City, despite obviously having a very much of a downfall in the early 90s, getting relegated, not the case here. Wimbledon, that's amazing. Wimbledon are in the UEFA Cup because, of course, Wimbledon ceased to exist at this point. They've done very well there. Thierry Henry is at Manchester United. Thierry Henry is at Manchester United. He went to Lens for £2.7 million. Then Manchester United paid nearly £40 million for him, and he is their new talisman. That is a story. Patrick Vieira has ended up at Arsenal. Yep, he doesn't start at Arsenal. He went from Tours to Lazio. £81 million move to Arsenal. The game just sometimes knows. It just sometimes it knows. Edwin van der Sar there, Liverpool. Some freaky stuff is definitely happened here. Norwich, though, finishing in 3rd place. Not bad at all. Let's take a look around the leagues then. So Serie A, Juve have won it 3 times. Milan have won it once. Sampdoria have won it once as well. David Trezeguet. Raul is at Juve. That doesn't happen. Obviously, Raul, he stays a long time at Real Madrid, all the way up until he goes to the Bundesliga with Schalke. And I think he makes like another move as well to maybe an Eastern European, not an Eastern European team, like a UAE, something like that. Martin Palermo at Stuttgart. Martin Palermo famous for missing 3 penalties in one game. That's how I remember Martin Palermo. But Werder Bremen have been winning the Bundesliga. They won 3 in a row there. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank is at Bayern Munich. Some interesting things happening there in the Bundesliga. The Spanish division, it's pretty much exactly the same as you'd expect. Ebe San from Barcelona getting a lot of goals there, the Danish striker. We'll take a look, by the way, at international tournaments after the 30 years. French League, PSG, if they stayed away, yeah, it's Marseille. It's all Marseille. Jan Koller is at PSG. 6'8" Jan Koller, incredible player. If you think he's 19 at the start, might be worth getting him. He's basically Lorenzo Luca. So the Champions League the last 5 years, AC Milan have won it 2 more times. Werder Bremen, well actually AC Milan, yeah, they did win it 2 more times. Werder Bremen, Leeds United and Liverpool. So Leeds United have won the Champions League. Very interesting. What I did find quite interesting, Frank Lampard is at Liverpool. Yeah, he went from Aston Villa to Liverpool, £48 million. Some of the things that obviously happen in this, like there's going to be no Steven Gerrard. He doesn't exist yet. I'm pretty sure he doesn't exist anyway. No, I don't think he does. He doesn't. So Frank Lampard came around just slightly earlier. He is there. He has gone to Liverpool, playing basically what Steven Gerrard did, to be fair. We're going to take a brief look at 20 years, 2041, so that's 20 years in the future, 20 seasons I think it is, because the Premier League is actually really interesting. Everton have just won the Premier League for the 2nd time recently. Liverpool have started to win it too in the last decade. Very interesting stuff, because Didier Drogba is at Liverpool at age 34 here. Of course, played a lot through Chelsea. He went from Vannes OC in the first season, that's where you can find him, to Lille on a free transfer. Played there for a couple of seasons in the first team, then went to Liverpool for £44 million. Has been completely dominating the Premier League. Absolutely outstanding. You're going to see quite a lot of regens at this point now. Lee Bowyer's there at Liverpool. Thierry Henry stayed at Manchester United. He's 34 now. He's had an incredible career at Manchester United, and he's not the only one. No, we've got one Sebastian Veron, who actually went to Manchester United and was a flop. He's played there for a long ass time and done amazing, so he's rewritten his career there. But there's some other interesting players who are currently at Manchester United. Rogerio Ceni, of course, the very good free kick taking goalkeeper, 39. He's their number 1. We have Zambrotta. I think Kieran Dyer's here as well, age 33. And quite interestingly enough, the manager, it's no longer Sir Alex Ferguson. So the legacy ended very early on as well, to be fair. He lasted only 10 years. He won 3 league trophies. But Louis van Gaal, How interesting that Louis van Gaal, obviously he managed Manchester United in real life, didn't do that well. He actually won 2 Premier League trophies here and 3 cups. Fabio Capello also spent time here. I could just look through this database for ages. By the way, Patreon members, £5 here, you will get access to this save game file. I'll put the 5, 10, 30, whatever it is, on the Patreon so you can download it on the £5 tier. Thank you everybody who signed up to the patreon.com/MegaLukeGaming. You really help and support me now as a content creator. Now that the Facebook contract has ended, it means that I can continue to create content on a weekly basis. So thank you very much for all of your support on Patreon. Now it's 30 years. We won't dive too much into this because of course a lot of the players don't exist anymore, but let's take a look who's been winning the Premier League. Leeds United, Liverpool, Leeds, Everton. It's a weird state considering no Man City. At this point in the last decade in real life, it was dominated of course by Manchester City and Chelsea pretty much, and Liverpool of course in the last couple of years have been there. They have won it recently 2 years ago, but Everton, United and Leeds seem to have won it quite often. The Premier League is now the most reputable league in the world. It's no longer the Serie A. They are second place. Spanish Premier Division is quite low down. So the Serie A, who has been winning that recently, Sampdoria are still there. The 2 Milans have been trading some league titles, as well as Juve, of course, who are dominant recently. And the Bundesliga has been dominated by Bayern Munich in the last decade. A bit of Werder Bremen, a little bit of Dortmund there too. So not as dominant as what it was in real life. Bayern Munich winning like the last 10, for instance. Spanish Premier Division. Is it anybody? It is Sevilla. I was going to say, is it anybody other than Madrid or Barcelona? Sevilla have just won it, which is great. I'm really happy to see that it wasn't just dominated they've won it recently as well, fairly recently, so that's fantastic. Ligue 1, did PSG ever win it? They didn't. So Marseille and Monaco traded Ligue 1s for a long ass time, and it wasn't dominated by PSG and their money. The Champions League then is fairly interesting. It is pretty much won by an English team for about the last 10 years. Juve, Milan, so it was dominated quite often by Italian teams too. But, I mean, Juve have won it loads, to be fair. Like, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times there in that decade. But look how many times it was won by English teams. They're just very overpowered in this database. But who has been winning the World Cup? Well, the last one was won in 1990 there by West Germany. England have won it 3 times since. Even Mexico picked one up after 6 or 5 years. So the second World Cup that we have there. Germany have gone on and won it 3 times since, as well as Brazil. So the likes of France, of course, Spain's dominance in the early 2010s never happened. They did finish runners-up, but it never happened. They have won the European Championships twice, so maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh there. Portugal have won one recently too. Denmark there, obviously, we've seen happen in real life. That's when that actually happened, to be fair, so that was already nailed in the database. France won the 2044, so that would have been just 2 tournaments ago, so that actually makes sense. That's kind of actually what happened in real life. Italy there as well, runners-up. Very interesting stuff, how this is played out 30 years into the future. And the final thing I want to check is the Ballon d'Or. We can see Allan Kardec, which is quite funny because there is actually a Brazilian called Allan Kardec, who would be about 35 now. That's really interesting how that's played out. He has been winning the Ballon d'Or a few times. But let's go down so we can see some real life players. Didier Drogba there, won it at the age 33. Veron at Manchester United, how that has changed. Raul, one of the best players I would say that's never won a Ballon d'Or. Raul has won it 4 times there. Insane. Patrick Vieira, Alan Shearer, Figo, Zidane, Effenberg, of course, was amazing. Paulo Sergio, Alan Shearer, Michael Laudrup, Mark Hughes won the very first one. Very different to what played out in real life, I think you would agree. So there we have it then. That's a brief look at the history, replayed out, rewritten history of the last 30 years using the Mad Scientist 92-93 database of the 30th anniversary of Championship Manager. This is basically 30 years ago when Championship Manager first came out. This is pretty much the same database. So of course, a huge thank you to the Mad Scientist for allowing me access to show you this beta. If you'd like to download it, remember it's coming out this week. It's available, the beta is available on his Patreon. So if you want to show him a little bit of support for all the time and effort that he does put in, check out his Patreon as well. But if you are patient enough, a couple of days time, it will be out for free for you to try out. And of course, once that is available, I'll put it on my Patreon so you can take a look at this database when it is rewritten so you can have a look through and dive into it yourself. But really, thank you very much for everybody who's watched it. If you enjoyed, smash a like and check out SPITCH down below in the description. My name's Mega Luke. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.